founder of Curasalve, an organic skincare company devoted to giving parents and caregivers peace of mind knowing there are safe organic products for your children that work. Her first hero product is Curasalve Organic Diaper Rash Treatment Paste, which Kelley created after her daughter Juliana experienced severe diaper rash and traditional ointments offered her no relief. Kelley set out to create a cream using non-nano zinc oxide and safe organic ingredients. Hi, Kelley.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Awesome. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Likewise.
Yeah, I have a 2-year-old niece, 2.5-year-old niece.
Okay.
So when I was reading your whole story about everything, I was like, oh my God, this is what my sister's always like on the hunt for clean products, organic products. So
Mm-hmm.
like your story connected so much because I was like, I could totally understand how you're like solving this problem for
Yeah.
for parents looking for these
Yeah, thank you.
products. First of all, I'm going to introduce you to everyone. You are the founder of Curasalve. Is that how you say it? Am I saying it
Uh,
the right way?
Curacao.
Curasalve.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And it is an organic product for children. And I'll let you talk a little bit more about it, but you created it out of this need that you had for your daughter. And I think that's so special because uh, there is this missing part to what kids need and products that actually work, but then are also safe and organic and clean for them. So let's talk first about how you came up with this product.
Yeah, so it was really for me born out of necessity. So my daughter Juliana was born with sensitive skin.
Mm.
So she was the type of baby, even if I changed her diaper every hour, it seemed like she always had a little red blotch. I was pretty careful or, mindful of the types of ingredients that I would use like in her products and things like that, like her skincare, whether it be body washes, anything that was really highly fragranced, she would sometimes have reactions to. And she started solids between 6 and 7 months and had a bout with food intolerance that led to diarrhea. And so, for most parents, like diarrhea, just the constant going to the bathroom, is tough for, fragile kind of
Yes.
newborn or infant skin. And so, a lot of well meaning people gave me recommendations for products that worked really quickly for their children. And some of them were, toxic and filled with synthetic ingredients. And so I was a little weary of those. But I mean, with most children's personal care products, they're filled with a lot of ingredients that if parents took the time to like review, they wouldn't feel so good about. And then some of the natural products on the market, they had a really watery, almost like lotion texture.
Mm.
And so skin that is already inflamed is kind of smooth. So as soon as I put the cream on, it wiped off by the time I had fastened her diaper.
Yeah.
And so I knew that I needed something that was maximum strength, but also safe enough for sensitive and very like young skin. And
Mm.
so I started to think through it, and I looked all over and I could not find something that worked for her skin. And so I decided to, go out and make my own. And
Really?
here we are.
Yeah. That's what I was actually going to ask you. Is that how I guess how you started? Was it just like finding ingredients that were, I guess, you did research to find out which ingredients would help certain things that were going on that were happening?
Yep, absolutely. Ingredients with antimicrobial properties and just
Mm.
ingredients that I knew worked well for her skin, which was pretty sensitive. So,
Yeah.
the jojoba oil, which is really like moisturizing, just great for skin and any ailments. Aloe vera, which is a natural healer. Coconut oil, which I use like all over her body, in her hair. Just so
Yeah.
many, uses for that. And then at the time when I was making the product at home, I actually used cornstarch to thicken it because I knew I wanted something
Ah.
that was like a paste.
Huh.
And when I knew that I had to find another alternative when I, went to work with a
Market.
lab. And
Yeah.
so organic beeswax was actually the
Oh.
recommendation from my chemist, who said, just the melting point, the way that it blends in with other ingredients.
Yeah.
And, it also has, really great healing properties as well.
It
It's on
does.
the expensive side, but, you'd rather use a more natural wax than a synthetic. And so it
Right.
was just something that when we began to test the product, it just blended really well.
Yeah.
So,
And see, those are the interesting things that you learn when you're creating a product
oh,
is,
absolutely.
how things were. I know from talking to a couple of other brands, even like how are they going to ship when they get to someone? Will it melt? Will it stay solid?
Yeah,
There's so
exactly.
many factors
That you
that,
don't know. Yeah. And sometimes it's trial and error if you don't, work with someone who's been there, done that. And
yeah,
so, like, you're absolutely right. Like, the type of packaging that you use, you have to ensure that the ingredients don't cause it, to deteriorate, like if you
yeah,
use paper or something like that.
that's hard.
Yeah, that stability testing, it's just a process of understanding how the materials work together and ingredients work together,
Yeah.
I should
Or
say.
how it's going to show up. I know like that too. Cause like, some products you'll order and then it looks different in the container or something rose to the top,
Exactly.
that
And that's
must be a challenge.
And for natural products, that is always something that happens. So I don't use any synthetic stabilizers.
Mm,
So in the middle of the winter, if the product has sat outside for,
yeah.
5 hours, it'll be very firm, very
Right.
hard. But when it warms to room temperature, it'll be creamy and ready for use. And just like in the summer, if it sits outside in California for a few
Mm,
hours, it may be very almost like an ointment. So I suggest that parents allow the product to sit to room temperature
mm,
or stable temp indoors before use, because it'll just be easier to, handle the product,
yeah.
apply it.
That's so good. That's why I love talking to owners and founders because I feel like it's so easy to for someone to get discouraged from using a product because they don't know and maybe they're so used to these not so great ingredients in products that keep it together or keep it at a certain texture or consistency and they don't so when they get the natural products they see it and they're like oh this doesn't seem right but really it is
Yeah,
and
it
it's
is
better you know
right.
so
Exactly.
I like hearing that from you.
Yeah, it's just something that like they're not used to. So
Right.
it may be a little bit of coconut oil maybe on the top surface, or things may have shifted to the side. It's not the same presentation when you have synthetic other ingredients that really stabilize the look and the feel of the product.
Ex-
Absolutely. Yeah.
exactly. So now I read a little bit, you have a law background as an
Yeah.
attorney. And I think that's so intriguing because you came out of, you know, this prestigious field and created this product. Do you feel like that's helped you along the way, having that background?
I do, because I think in law you do a lot of research. So a lot of people say, okay, well, how did you just go from like, being a mom and
Yeah.
having an issue and deciding like, okay, well, I'm going to think about ingredients, put them
Right.
together and find a lab. And I think a part of law is, you're really researching and figuring out solutions.
Mm,
And so I think that's just second nature for me. And so when I said, okay, I want to make a product, it took a really long time. The first year was really figuring out the ingredients that I wanted, and then a lab or a chemist to work with me.
mm.
And I got a lot of no's because there are a lot of contract manufacturers that had really high minimums. And coming out the gate with one product, I
Sorry.
didn't necessarily want to spend 30, 40, or $50,000, to formulate the product and do a huge production run. So I had to find someone that, one, understood the organic ingredient space,
Mm,
natural products, and then two, that was willing to work with a small company,
right.
really a
Yeah.
startup. And so you had to get through the no's and do a lot of research on, I mean, there are a lot of contract manufacturers in the US as well as, throughout Europe and Canada. So finding out who you want to work with. And I made the decision to work with someone within the States just because just understanding the manufacturing process, a lab that was FDA certified. That was a personal choice. And so, yeah,
That's nice.
essentially
Yeah.
being an attorney, understanding research and tenacity, like not giving up, is really what, got me here.
That is a good point, and I didn't even think about that, but I think you're right, like, you in that line of work, you really do have to be used to no's and, pushing boundaries and pushing through challenges to get answers. And so you having that, you actually did the work to get those answers to find something that would now be, something wonderful for parents and a new solution for them. So
Yeah, so absolutely. I would say to anyone that starts, a business of their own, I think anytime you break into a new field, I think there's always, a lot of no's or people
yeah.
are on the fence, but really in business, you're convincing someone to not only try your product, but to pay for it. So it
Right. Right.
comes with its own challenges, like learning how to market yourself and run a business. And
Yeah.
so it's a big learning curve.
There's a lot of parts that come into play with it, with not with you can have an amazing product, something that's incredible, but now it's like, okay, how do I sell it? How do I tell that story that it is a good product? you
Yeah,
know
get your name out there. It's tough. It's
yeah.
competitive within a lot of sectors. And so how do you distinguish yourself?
Mm,
How do you fundraise? There's so many various factors.
yeah.
How do you market yourself on social media, which is a big,
It's
it's a big
that's a big, yeah, big playing field with a lot of different elements to it.
exactly.
Breaking through it and into it is it's
Not
a
easy.
lot.
Not for the faint of heart, but you just have to remember your why. And
Mm,
I took a long time off. So I launched in 2018 and I sold for a short amount of time. And then I had to take a big break because my family, we were affected by a neighbor's house fire.
I read about that, your
So at the time
story.
I lived in DC in a row home. And so, we're all connected. And the neighbor 2 homes over, had a big explosion
Oh
and
no.
her house burned aggressively and it affected everyone connected to her.
Yeah.
My home, the wind was blowing in our
Oh,
direction that day. So the smoke from 5 homes collected in mine. So we suffered the most smoke damage and
oh
we
my
lost
god.
everything just that day. And I was in my third trimester of pregnancy with my son.
And pregnant? Oh my god.
Pregnant. I was just like maybe 3 or 4 months away from my due date.
Oh wow.
And so, yeah, it was just a lot to
Yeah.
manage, right? You go from thinking about your nursery and putting together furniture and, shipping product and, trying to build your business to
Juggling everything as it is.
exactly into like, oh my goodness, I have to negotiate with insurance and we have to find someone to rebuild our
Mm,
home. And then right when that process started, I had the baby. And
right.
so and all that a newborn and being a mom of two comes with. So
Yeah.
it took a long time. And I really started to think like,
Is
should
it?
I even restart the business?
Yeah.
And occasionally I would get emails and DMs from people saying, like, hey, are you up and running again? Like, this really
Oh,
worked for my child. Like, are you coming back? Are you selling? Like, it's been out of stock for some time. And so I finally decided, actually in 2020,
wow.
that in the middle of the pandemic, I just,
Yeah.
you know,
Serious. That's like,
I'm just going to give it another go.
yeah.
And hopefully I make some traction in the next year or two. But I'm going to give it my all. And really, I had at the time my daughter looking at me, who is old enough now to ask about the business and say like, "Hey, mom, are you going to start selling again?"
Oh.
She'll be 5 in August.
Oh my god, that's so cute. It's so
Yeah.
like older and seeing and understanding. Wow.
Again. So I decided to give it a go. And the next month after I relaunched, Nordstrom picked us up. And so I'm
That's incredible.
we started to see some really good traction. And so
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that, well, I know I want to just say I hope over time will
Yeah.
really grow to be the business that, like I want.
That must have been an interesting process because when you bring in a larger retailer, and I don't know how Nordstrom's works, with product, but it's like, how do you fulfill that? And are there minimums? And was there, did you have a lot of things that you now had to relearn again working with a big retailer like that?
Yeah, so they know that I'm a small business, and so they started really small with the
Ah,
purchase orders. And they give you several months to
mm,
become what's called EDI compliant, and it's just an electronic system where our companies work together in terms of how you process
ah,
purchase orders, any other paperwork. And so I had to find a third party company that could help me become like EDI compliant, and it was a process, but they give you time
that's
to
nice.
that point. So it's
Yeah.
not like, okay, in 30 days, fulfill this PO. It's a
Right.
slow and steady process that I'm grateful for. And I'm glad because, if I want to expand into mass retail, other big box
Right.
stores, I kind of know the process to go
Yeah.
through and the steps I need to take. So
That's nice. So it gave you an opportunity to see it from that side, but not have to take this big, huge jump in.
exactly. With funding, because sometimes if you have to fulfill a purchase order of 20,000 SKUs, that's significant money. That's a big
Yeah.
marketing dollars and just upfront money to go to production.
Right.
So
It's
yeah.
like it's I see it 'cause that's like a dream for so many small businesses, but at the same time, very hard to fulfill and can also take you down, if
Absolutely.
you
And
don't handle it.
I reach out to a lot of women in business that have met pretty much online. And one of the biggest things that they say, and you can see TED Talks and just like hear from entrepreneurs about this, is scaling too fast will bankrupt your business because there's just inevitable learning
Right.
associated with growing, right? And you don't want to make a big financial risk with the
Right.
go and then it not go well and you have to buy back
Yeah. And you're sitting there with all this product and nowhere
nowhere
to
to
go.
use it.
Yeah.
That is how companies, go bankrupt
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you have, everyone, we all have those big dreams, right? And you want to make money and you want to be, just self-established,
Of course.
but
Yeah.
it's slow and steady seems, unless you have a ton of funding behind it,
Right. Right. Yeah.
is really the best way.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what creates that long-term success for a brand is
Yeah.
to be able to be moving, steadily in the right direction.
Mhm.
So, it sounds like you're there, you're on the move. I admire business owners and people willing to take a chance, especially in an organic, clean market. It's still I think a lot of people something that they're learning about and getting to understand. And a big part of why I like doing this is because the education part of it is so important. And I think the more people that can get educated around brands like yours, the better, and the more success there is to it. And why shouldn't children grow up with better products and
Absolutely.
parents have access to it?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And it's like, when you become a parent, it's just like the more you know.
yes,
Whether you're a parent or you're an individual, you're selecting skincare that is better for you and better for the earth. I
right.
mean, that all is meaningful. It makes a difference. And so, yeah, I want to give those like feel good product options to families.
I
And so
like that.
now I just have the diaper cream, but this summer I'm expanding my full line to have, body washes, a moisturizer, just other products, to service families.
For children, you're doing that yeah.
Yeah,
Do you have you noticed if any of parents have said to you like, oh, I like using it on myself or it feels so good on my skin?
yeah. A lot of moms say, "Oh, I put it on my, cuticles. I put it
Yeah.
on my hands after because it smells good. I like the ingredients."
Yeah.
Um, on eczema spots too. Surprisingly, like a lot of parents say
Yes.
the zinc and like the oils, it is works really well for eczema and dry spots.
That's what I would think. Because when I read your ingredients, I was like, this sounds really good for just for eczema or dry skin or areas where you need it. I notice when I'm changing my niece, I'll do that. Like I'll put it on. I'm like, oh, this is you know
Right.
because it
Exactly.
feels
Like, oh, let me just rub this
yeah,
in. Yeah. And
like
so
better. So it's nice.
exactly. Yeah. So a lot of people do that. And yeah, and even I got a review the other day, a mom who had burned her hand. She started to put the zinc cream on her hand because it's a mineral, like a skin
Yeah.
protectant. And she said her hand it started to heal much faster than it did in the past. And she had had this burn for quite some time and had seen no progress. And yeah, using it every day.
And the
Yeah.
aloe in it. I mean, aloe is such
Oh,
a good,
exactly.
which I feel like I don't see as much in products, and it's such a good ingredient. It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
helpful to skin, and to have it, in your product is amazing.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
something different. I feel like, for me anyway, that seems like something different. Have you, what type of feedback have you gotten from moms for the product?
Yeah, mostly, really, really great feedback saying
Yeah.
that, it stays on and it survives diaper changes. And that is the reason why I did it.
Yeah.
Like if it rubs off as soon as you close the diaper, it's nothing providing protection. And
Yeah.
so when it stays on, really the staying power equals healing power.
Mm.
And so I love it when a mom says, I really saw results within a couple of diaper changes, like the
Mm.
same day my baby has relief. And that is consistently,
Yeah.
a little bit goes a long way.
Mm.
I love the ingredients and it worked really fast. And that is,
The best feedback you can get.
best feedback
And
I
for
gave.
moms, I know it's a huge struggle because when a baby is So, like they can't talk, they can't say what's bothering them.
Yeah.
And a diaper, I mean, like I said, I see it with my niece, and it's like she can't say, when she can't say what's bothering her, but you start to realize, okay, this is what's bothering her. And if it is coming off or not staying on, now the parents are struggling with that, and the child is upset and crying and irritated, and they don't want the diaper on, and now it leads to so many other issues.
Yeah.
So to have something that can resolve that and make it easier on the child and the parent, I think is really a key part too.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just making diaper changes easier, making, nap time and,
Yes.
you know,
Because it
bedtime.
snowballs. It's funny, but like if they have the diaper rash and now they can't, that's not resolved, then they can't sleep. And so now their sleep is disrupted. And so now that turns into a whole night thing. I've seen it and it's not
It's
pretty.
not good, right?
It's not.
So it just becomes it's really painful for the whole family, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So you certainly sound like you found a cure to some of those issues. um what advice would you give, just knowing a brand, what advice would you give to someone starting a brand or looking to do something, not even in this field, but just in brand in general?
Yeah, I would say, really take your time and don't feel rushed by maybe what you see on social
Mm,
media or your own aspirations. And so, it really took some time to find the right contract manufacturer. It really took a time to understand, social media, and I'm still learning to this day.
mm,
And the how digital marketing works. And I think if this is not your field and you don't come from a business background, you don't have an MBA, it's okay to learn as you go. And
mm.
you will make mistakes, but learn from them quickly and be committed to bouncing back and to seeing the process through. Because I think some people, you have a great idea, a product works, you automatically think, I'm going to be successful, I'm going to make a lot of money, the world will know who I am.
Right.
I want a million people flooding my site. And it takes a little bit longer for people to get to know who you are and have trust in your brand. And so don't give up along the way. Remember your why, be consistent, and just know that eventually you will see the return and you'll see the following and all the things that you want once you put the time and dedication into your business.
Oh, Kelly, that is such great advice. I love that. It's
Thank you.
motivating in so many ways, and you're motivating, to see. I mean, you're thriving through, creating it, a fire, making the decision to start it up again, and then, to have Nordstrom's be involved is just, that's an incredible step, and it can only, sky's the limit, really.
Thank
Um, where can everyone find you? The product, shop for it?
Yes, so I am on Instagram and Facebook at Curasalve.
Hmm.
And then personally, I'm Kelley Williams. It's Kelley with an EY, Williams underscore. And then you can find the product on my website, curasalve.com, also on amazon.com. Yeah, so we're on Amazon Prime, and then Nordstrom.com as well. But we recently sold out of our purchase order. So
No
hopefully we
way.
can back up in a couple weeks. And you
Congrats.
can
That's amazing. Oh, Amazon is so good. That makes it nice and easy too.
make it so easy, right?
Yeah, I think that's always a question that comes up for a lot of people, is like, is it on Amazon?
Yes, we are on Amazon. Yep. So
One of
if
those
you
things.
get Prime, next day or within 2 days. I mean, they ship so fast. So
Probably problem. Well, thank you so much, Kelly, for this. It was so informative. All your information will also be in my YouTube link box below, so people can find you really easily and click on it and shop. And thank you. We'll find you on a lot of social media.
thank you so much, Dawn. I
Kelly, have,
appreciate it.
thanks. Have a good rest of the day.
You too.